We've talked about me getting a vasectomy. I've got to contemplate doing what could potentially be a life-saving procedure for the person I love most. It's not a decision I make lightly, I'll say that.
One of our office managers said, "Get ready."
Dr. Christian Hettinger is a urologist at KCUC. There's about 24 clinics across the metro.
Since Friday, we're up 900% in people looking to get a vasectomy.
The demand for vasectomy consults drastically increasing across both states. Here's the numbers for just one clinic.
Typically, it's about 3 over a weekend. And over this past weekend, it was 50 that came through looking for vasectomies.
Oh, the increase in vasectomies is definitely on the rise in the wake of overturning Roe v. Wade. Here's more details. They had those numbers there, but there's more numbers here. These are startling to me. So on Thursday, the Cleveland Clinic in Ohio said that it had a significant increase in scheduling requests for vasectomies. It usually gets 3 to 4 requests a day, but from Friday to the spokesperson said. Dr. David Robinson's a urologist in North Miami, Florida, told WPLG TV that calls have increased so much at his clinic that he's considering going in on Saturdays to keep up with the demand for appointments. Wow. In Missouri, Dr. Christian Hettinger, a urologist at Kansas City Urology Care, I think that's the doctor we saw there at the end of that clip, said his office has been bombarded with calls seeking information about the procedure. And since Friday, they're up 900% looking to get that vasectomy is what they also then pointed out. There's another specific case of one guy who told his story down in Louisiana. I'm gonna get to that, but first, startling numbers here. And also, do you understand the reasoning and also maybe the possibility of why these guys are doing this? Or do you think this is maybe too reactionary, Rick?
You're asking me? No, I don't think this is reactionary at all. No, why would I think it's reactionary?
I need to know.
I think if there's any part that we could do within our power, we should. Mm-hmm. I do agree that these decisions should not be made and taken lightly, but I think it is important. And I think if there's the bare minimum of something a man could do to protect a woman in these times, I'm 1000% with it. So yes.
Yeah, and that particular guy at the top there who was talking about how much he loves his wife and she potentially has possible health problems if she does get pregnant. They had decided before that they're not gonna go through with that. So he said, I'm gonna do it sooner. He was gonna do it after he's 30. That guy's only 26 years old, but he decided to do it now because then the responses then come to how do we now protect the next step of all this? These are committed relationships. Again, people like to think that any woman who has to make the decision about her reproductive health is some wild floozy girl that's 22 years old and likes to party too much. That's the picture they like to put on people. Yeah. In reality, it doesn't, by the way, it doesn't matter if it's even that, because that's none of your damn business, first of all. But that's the one that speaks to their base. But here's a story from a particular man down in New Orleans who pointed out the reasons why he's doing this as well. Okay. Paul Rawfield, he's 37 years old in New Orleans. He said he scheduled a vasectomy for similar reasons as others, which is concern about their wives or girlfriends. A court has temporarily blocked Louisiana's trigger law. So between the trigger law, our attorney general, and the looming death of Roe v. Wade, my wife decided she was gonna get a tubal litigation. While she was at her OBGYN, I decided that I would just get a vasectomy and started calling urologist, is what he said. My thinking was that I'd be a pretty terrible husband if I was okay with making my wife bear the sole burden for an issue affecting both of us, especially considering for me to make good only requires a small outpatient procedure. Rawfield said that with the Supreme Court decision and Louisiana's ban, he felt that his wife's safety was at risk. He says this: if Roe hadn't been reversed, my wife would not have been looking at getting a ligation. Sorry, I keep mispronouncing that. Nor would I have opted to get a vasectomy. Louisiana is planning to punish women as much as it can. We don't want kids. Very simply, my wife is my life. These laws create too many scenarios that jeopardize my wife's safety. So again, all these lives that matter, every life is precious. So every time these husbands talk about their wives and their lives being changed over this, they have to take that step as well. And it's admirable. I just wish it didn't have to happen. And this is just another aspect of the fight of the changing face of this country. Right. I hope they're happy with this.
Yeah, here's a few more numbers that I saw. Mm-hmm. An LA urologist is seeing a 300 to 400% increase. An Iowa-based urologist is seeing a 200 to 250% increase. Doug Stein, a Florida urologist, was called, and I kid you not, according to the Washington Post, the vasectomy king. Quite a title. Is booked through the end of August. He's doing 12 a day after usually doing around 4 a day. An associate said, and I quote, "I'd say at least 60 or 70% are mentioning the Supreme Court decision."
Yep.
It's plain and simple. It is a cause and effect. They overreached, and now the people are responding within their rights and within the power that they have.
And by the way, a lot of supporters of this will probably say something like, "Yeah, sure, let the libs go ahead and stop having babies. We don't want more of those lib babies anyway." That's my assumption of what maybe some of the pushback on this will be. But what they also overlook is the majority of the country believes in women having the right to the reproductive rights. And there's probably plenty of conservative men who are like, "Oh my God, I didn't want a baby either."
Do you have friends in like Europe or like in other parts of the world?
Yeah.
And have they reached out to you after all this happened?
No, not directly to me, no.
I do. And they're like, "What is going on in your country?" And I don't have a response. There's just like, obviously there's many responses that I could have, but none would suffice because it's insane. What's going on is insane.
Yeah, we have a power structure that's being challenged and they're getting very upset. So they're responding with absolute and total aggression. Any changes that have happened, I mean, look how angry they got right after Obama got elected. It turned into like, oh my God, wait, this was never supposed to happen. And the retaliation was, let's bring in the biggest bigot that we can possibly bring in modern times for to be president. And let's go ahead and activate our base. That's the basis of their energy. That's the basis of their party's belief systems.